So I hear on the news that we're now officially in a recession. And I keep reading headlines like, crypto's crashed and it's taken Rolex prices down with it. So I guess it's time to stop buying luxury watches and start building them at home. Hey guys, I'm Max and this is Watch Crunch. WatchCrunch.com is a refuge for all the people who have been turned off by the changing Instagram algorithm. Are you tired of being told you need to make reels? Well, come hang out with us on the growing community at WatchCrunch.com. We're not trying to be the next TikTok. So if you follow the channel for a while, you know that I'm not shy about cracking open a watch. From building my own Explorer Broad Arrow hybrid from a Seiko Sarb to swapping out the crystal on my Speedmaster, I take the adage that if I can do it myself, why pay somebody else? But I did a poll recently on Watch Crunch, and over 60% of you said that you haven't, but would love to try to build your own watch. Well, DIY Watch Club reached out to me and we decided to do a collaboration so I can test out a couple of their new Pilot watch kits. What I didn't tell them was that I'm gonna compare it to my IWC Spitfire. It's not fair, I know, but let's crack into these kits and see if building your own watch at home is as easy and as fulfilling as they advertise it to be. So first of all, I'm pretty impressed with the package. It seems quite complete, from the basics of what's needed like the case, the dial, the hands, to even more specialized watchmaking tools like a loop, air pump, and Rodico putty. So far so good. But for better or worse, I didn't start by following their instructions. I was eager to just dig in and thought that with my experience, I'd see how far I'd get. Well, not too far. I quickly realized that this system is slightly different than what I was used to. Specifically, it uses a movement spacer that the movement sinks into and the dial mounts to the other side. They do have step-by-step videos on their site that you can watch if you get confused, and this put me right back on track. Now, once the movement and the dial are mounted, we turn to the hands. So this is the most delicate part of the procedure, and you don't want to crank down too hard on them such that you might bend them, but enough to seat them properly. Luckily, they give you two sets of hands in case you screw this up. My trick for the second hand is actually to use the sticky Rodico to grab it and set it in place. And you'll know that it's on the pinion if it spins when you push the crown in. Then just mount it like the other hands by using the smaller side of the hand installing tool. Now that the hard part is over, we just have to set the movement in the case, putting the crown back in and tightening the case back. Now pausing in between each of these steps to dust things off so that nothing gets trapped under the crystal. Now if there's any marks in the dial, you can grab the Rodico and tap it off of the dial. Now if you did everything correctly, you should have a working watch at this point. See, that wasn't too hard at all. They had included a green single pass NATO, but I prefer this leather one. So let's strap it on the wrist and take it for a test drive. Now, as you can see, the styling of this Pilot's watch is almost a dead copy of the IWC. But let's get one thing out of the way. It is not in the same level of quality as a Swiss luxury brand. I mean, what do you expect? This is a kit priced at under $300, so about a tenth of the price. So it doesn't have the frills like the AR coating or the precision fit and finish or the heritage of the IWC. But let's evaluate it for what it is, which is a World War II pilot's homage that you get to build at home. Now, staying with this comparison for a second, I noticed that the IWC dial is more matte and gray, and the font on IWC is actually more compact and has more prominent minute track. But looking at the DIY watch, what I love first is its size. It's got this 40mm case with 20mm lug width, and it's relatively skinny at 12.5mm thick. And the lug to lug is a manageable 48mm. This allows the watch to sit nice and evenly on my 6.5-inch wrist. The case is actually pretty well finished with mostly a brushed surface when looked at head on, but with polished bevels at the base of the bezel and running along the sides of the lugs. Next, the Fotina on the sword hands and markers are well done and really gives it a vintage flavor. Now, if you zoom in on the hands, the finishing is not quite there at the same level as a luxury brand, but you're not going to notice this when it's just sitting on your wrist. Unlike the IWC, all the hour markers are loomed and it glows pretty bright in the dark. I especially like this painted white second hand that stretches all the way to the edge of the dial and has an arrow-tipped counterweight. Now, we get a white date wheel at the 3, and it's relatively small and unobtrusive. The Miyota 8250 movement here hacks and hand winds and allows you to quick set the date. These movements are not known to be the most accurate, but I don't think we're looking for a chronometer at this price point. The watch has a see-through caseback that shows off a relatively attractive skeletonized rotor. The crown is signed with the letter D, presumably referring to the company name, and the letter is also found again at the 12 o'clock position under that big triangle. The triangle placed there historically to orient pilots to the 12 o'clock position, no matter what strange angle they find themselves in their planes in. Now we get to some of my criticism for this at-home build. Now, I'm not knocking it for the quality, as I think you get more than what you expect at this price, but design-wise, here are some things that I feel like they can easily improve. First, they've put the reference number under the logo at the 12. This is unnecessary and frankly a bit kitschy. Reference numbers are usually hidden somewhere on the case, maybe in between the legs. They don't belong in the middle of the dial. Next, I think they can work on the font for the numerals. It feels one size too big and just a little skinny. Maybe bold it and bring it down a size to tighten things up. Lastly, a leather strap would really set this watch off and give it that vintage flavor. The nylon one included is just a little flimsy. But that's it. For your money, I think you're buying an experience. This would be a great kit for your first time building a watch, especially if you're afraid of fubbing up the whole process. Now, DIY Watch Club makes it really simple and straightforward, and I didn't run into any snags, which if you build your own watches, you know never happens. Then you can keep these quality tools and use it for your future builds as you gain more confidence and take on bigger projects. And the bonus is that you're left with this great World War II pilot's watch homage that you can wear proudly. And when people ask you, hey, what watch is that? You can say, I built it. That's a great feeling and a great conversation starter. Now, to celebrate the channel hitting 30,000 subscribers, DIY Watch Club has agreed to give one of these kits to you. So to enter to win, do 3 simple things. Subscribe to this channel, follow us on IG at watch_crunch, and finally post a comment on a thread on watchcrunch.com about this video, a link of which I will put in the comments below. As always, stay crunchy. I'll see you in the next one.